consider moving him. And the real risk in that is if you better make sure that you get some centers back that can score or distribute the puck, which right now they don't have. And I just think that it's, with Eriksson Ek and Coyle not knowing what position he is, and Koivu coming off a tough, first half and tough postseason. I thought he was mostly good the last, from February to April, he was pretty decent. It's a huge risk trading stall. So that's another challenge that Paul Fenton's going to have to figure out. And then the other thing that he's got to do is he's got to get some right shots in here. I remember, I don't want to say something that I shouldn't, but I remember essentially arguing with Chuck Fletcher last training camp because he was getting agitated. I kept on writing how little right shot forwards they had, and at that point they had two at least in Stewart and Coyle. They ended the season with one because Cunningham got hurt and Coyle, and they got rid of Stewart on waivers. It's absurd. What team in the league can be successful with one right shot forward? I mean, there's no fits. The Wild have a bunch of left shot right wings that don't want to play on the right wing, so that's a problem. You have power play alignments that would work if they started the power play on the other side, but they start the power play on the right side, so you have all these guys. I mean, remember that 1 5-on-3 down low when they kept on passing the puck to Mikko and he kept on getting handcuffed? Yep. It's like there almost comes a point where you just got to play Dumba down there, almost as a forward in that situation. So that's one area I promise you that Bruce Boudreau is talking. Bruce met with Paul Fenton on Tuesday night for dinner. That was more of a get to know you thing. All their wives were there, their kids, stuff like that. Then they met for 3 hours on Wednesday. And then they met today, Friday. Depending on when this is going to come out. What was the line that we always said?
Which one?
Remember, we used to always make a joke whenever I didn't know what the day the podcast was coming out. I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. But the you know what I mean. Like it just so in these conversations, that Bruce, some of the stuff that bothered him, and I've got to think the left shot thing is one of them. Is one of those things he's saying to Paul, and it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I was talking to Bruce today for this other story I did. So coming out Saturday in The Athletic is a story of Bruce Boudreau talking about Alex Ovechkin and Backstrom and George McPhee and all this stuff. But in that,
let's get to that in 1 second.
Okay.
And we do have to thank our friend John Hedges from Fixology Repair, fixologyrepair.com. John always tries to communicate with me on DMs. I'm terrible in DMs. John, text me or something. I never get to DMs, so text me or email me or something like that. I've got about 8 ways of not being communicated with, and DMs are my last. Fixology, though, has been sponsoring the program for a long time. You know about their shop, Mall of America, 3rd floor by Nordstrom's. They also have a newer shop downtown in the Skyway, right by just south of the Wells Fargo Center, right across from Dunn Brothers and Taco John's. Fixology Repair will fix anything you bring to them in terms of technology or watches, wearables. They sell a lot of cool accessories. Very, very clean, bright shop. We've done a show there. Check it out.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at our 2 locations, Mall of America and the Skyway in downtown Minneapolis. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at fixologymn on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
All right, go ahead with your rant.
Yeah, next one's Russo's hips on here. So clearly they're the same person, right? There's no coincidence that Russo's hairline and hips are tweeting me back to back. What the hell was I saying?
I have no idea at this point.
So Boudreau, the Boudreau, the Ovechkin story, but in that interview, and I'll write this for like Monday, is Boudreau was telling me about meeting with Paul and them getting together, and he said one of the most interesting parts is when you get an outside view, which is what Craig Leopold wants, of what those guys think of certain players on the team, and then the coach saying to the new GM what he thinks of certain players. And obviously he didn't talk specifically about it, but he said it is fascinating when you see here's Paul Fenton in Nashville saying this is my view of that player, and have it be, and then him finding out that the coach's view is 180 degrees different. And he said it would be the same thing as me asking him about Mike Fisher, and then me having this opinion of Mike Fisher, but him telling me what the real Mike Fisher is like. And that's what a lot of their meeting was the other day, which is, man, would we all love to be a fly on that wall to hear what Boudreau and Fenton think of each player on this team. But that's the get to know you process that Paul Fenton is dealing with now. And so that's one of those situations where if Bruce Boudreau absolutely loves a player that maybe Paul doesn't, they're going to have to come to an alignment on whether or not that guy stays or goes. And again, I don't want to be I think anybody that knows me knows that I'm somebody that doesn't like throw stuff against the wall. But again, if you're going to make major moves on this team going forward in the draft, there's only 4 or 5 guys that probably are the ones that can get that done. And again, those are the ones that I think that we've all been talking about. Stahl, Coyle, Niederreiter, Brodin, Dumba. I think that Zucker stays. I think he's the one guy that you want to re-sign between the two of the restricted guys, because I just think up front the Wild got slower this year, and I think it's just a huge risk getting rid of him. And again, I'm only saying you move Dumba is if you know that he's going to get you something of unbelievable quality back, and you can go get a right shot D like a John Carlson in free agency, or or acquire a Justin Falk or somebody like that.
What's going on with Coyle?
Coyle had both wrists done last week. Had tendon issues in there, and apparently was severely handicapped. I don't know how you have injuries to both of them, but he did, and I don't want it to be portrayed out there like I'm trying to make an excuse for him. I was just reporting the news. I mean, the reality is that Charlie has had these ruts throughout his career, and I do think that his salary makes him very, very tradable. But the problem is you'd probably be trading very low. And also Boudreau loves the guy, and he's very versatile and things like that. But it's just, there just comes a point where you probably got to pull the plug, and it would not shock me this summer if he is moved. But he's a right shot guy, and then you're down one. So.
Let's get to Twitter questions. We have a lot of good ones. Thanks again to Tony Hoaglund, Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin. I've dealt with Tony a lot. Michael and I both get our insurance through Tony. He's been supporting the program for a long time now. And the new development, as well as being able to call up and deal with really good people and email and get immediate response. We've also had great luck lately using their app. My wife uses it all the time. She can print out whatever she needs. She can get the information she needs. Just another very easy way to work with Tony. Again, it's Hoaglund.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
Is there another topic you would like to get to, or should I hit Twitter?
No, let's do Twitter, and then we should probably talk about the final at some point.
We should. Well, let's do that quickly. To me, not being as big a hockey person as you are, I'm fascinated by it because of the nature of the Vegas franchise and because of Ovechkin, and also because I have family and friends in D.C., and Capital fans are a lot like Viking fans.
Yeah, they've definitely been tormented with playoff failures over the years and things like that. It's funny, my first Stanley Cup final I covered as a beat writer was actually the Caps getting swept in that series against the Detroit Red Wings. Mm-hmm. This just feels like as I was walking here, I was talking to my buddy that's a casino host at Planet Hollywood, who's absolutely become a Vegas fanatic, and he asked me who I was going for. I'm like, well, you don't really want my opinion because I've been wrong every time. Like, I think I picked LA to beat them. I did pick Vegas to beat San Jose, but then I picked Winnipeg to beat Vegas. So maybe I should
Everybody
stick out
picked
that.
Winnipeg to beat Vegas.
I think that Tampa would have been easier beat for Vegas. I think that Vegas would have beaten Tampa. Washington is going to be tough. I mean, they're so physical. They're so hard on the forecheck. Holtby's playing great. And this just feels like it's Ovechkin's year. But this Vegas team just continues to defy odds. I mean, again, after game 1 against Winnipeg, I was convinced that it was going to go 5 games, but it went the other way. Mm-hmm. And then they go and win 4 games in a row. They've won 3 series on the road. It's just nuts, this team. And so it's hard to pick against them. But this Washington team, it just feels like Ovi realizes, and this is what's scary for Vegas, is that this is his opportunity. He's tired of 13 years of playoff failures. He's tired of being questioned by everybody and accused of not being able to lead his team anywhere and not being a winner and blah, blah, blah.
And he's had Olympic failures, too.
And he finally exercised those demons against Pittsburgh, and to expect him to just suddenly flounder when he's playing this committed. Not even just the scoring, but I mean, he's always hit like a freight train, but this is crazy. Mm-hmm. And now everybody on that team is doing the same thing. So it's kind of like, it's funny. I mean, it's kind of like if they go and split like Vegas did in Winnipeg, if Washington starts off by splitting here, I give them a lot of advantage now in this series to go win with home ice advantage now going back to Washington. So it's gonna be an awesome playoff round. I mean, it's just gonna be amazing.
Let's go to Twitter, and you can also follow the network on Twitter at talknorth-pod. From Russo Slacks, we got to give him the ceremonial first question, just so I can hear you groan. Which do you hate more, Michael, iced coffee or St. Paul? I
had one of those nitro brews at Starbucks yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh my God, those things are good. So that I didn't realize this. According to the barista at the Starbucks by the Federal Reserve, which how could he be wrong? They only sell those nitros in grandes, not ventis, because there's so much caffeine or something.
Really?
Is that really? So I said to the guy, I'm like, how about I tip you $5 and you just put it in a freaking venti? He's like, I can't, there's cameras. And I'm like, all right. So then I went back and I got a second grande. Those things are good.
You know what an analyst would say? Yeah. A modern capologist analyst, they'd say buy 2.
Yeah. Well, so I went back there and they're really unbelievably good. And I went back there and I got a second one and I look at him and he kind of gives me this skeptical look. And I said, you're not responsible. Because I was for 5 hours I was writing that. I wrote this in today's Athletic. I wrote the Fenton Life and Times story. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so good, Jim. I know you've read it by now. Jim, read it. It's so good. There's so many funny anecdotes in there. I wrote 3 gigantic paragraphs on how he dances.
I got stuff on my DVR. You
can't read that in the Star Tribune.
I got stuff on my DVR, though. I just don't know if I'm going to get to it.
Elaine Bennis is what he's called, the Elaine Bennis of the National Predators staff, because apparently he has dry heaves and the rigid things and the thumbs up and the, Elaine Bennis, right?
It sounds compelling.
Yeah. Read the story, Jim. Jeez. I'll get you a subscription.
Took you like 3 days to read my damn column.
I know. I read the Suter one. I got a little nervous.
You were not mentioned.
I know.
There's nothing to do with you.
Those first I was like reading it, my mouth ajar.
You don't work with me anymore. You can't even be
I texted somebody.
responsible.
I said, if Ryan read this column, I hope he remembers that I don't work there.
Oh, you know what? It's all my responsibility unless Ryan calls me, and then I'm going to throw you under the bus.
Yeah.
From Des Moines Printing, will Russo be coming down to Des Moines for the Wild preseason game?
I will.
From Tyler Scott, do you still see the Wild?
I almost went to Iowa City in a couple days, but it's just so like Trampled by Turtles is playing there.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking at flights.
Are you a Trampled by Turtles fan?
I am.
I don't think we've talked enough about that.
Hey, they donated 2 songs to this podcast.
Oh, I'm not
Jim.
ripping Trampled by Turtles. I'm ripping you for talking about them all the time.
So I saw somebody tweeted that the other day, like Russo's tolerable as long as you deal with his Trampled by Turtles mentions and his blah blah blah.
Dave Simonet is a friend of the network.
Yeah. So, but I was almost, I'm a big Iowa guy now.
From Tyler Scott, do you still see the Wild hiring a president of hockey operations?
I don't know if I've ever said that I see them doing it because it costs money. There was some rumor out there internally, by the way, not even externally, that the Wild were going to hire potentially Dean Lombardi to come with him. And I just would be shocked. why, like Dean, they didn't, as far as I know, they didn't even interview him for the GM job. Why would he all of a sudden come with Paul Fenton? And then, even though Paul, I wrote in that story today in The Athletic that Paul Fenton and him were teammates like at age 16, but I heard that they're not exactly tight anymore. So I don't think that's true. And so, I don't know. I do think they need some I think it always is good to have somebody kind of in that role, but, I don't know if you want to spend an extra $1.5 million or $2 million for that person. So.
From Tony Hoaglund, the man who sponsors the program and also appears on